Hello Moonshiners, I'm in a great mood today, and I hope you are too. If not now, then after this video it will be. Okay, friends, let's do a new column on Moonshine 2, where I will show you interesting tricks that will unlock the possibilities of Moonshine. They will be non-standard. We will not just run through the documentation, copy the code, paste it and be happy that something happened on the screen, but we will go not quite the standard way, so that, let's say, your thinking will be aroused and you, using Moonshine, will implement something interesting and realize how many possibilities there are. Okay, friends, today we're going to work with pages, but not just pages, but pages outside the resource. On the page itself, we're going to implement with you a form and a table, which will not be linked to models. It will work with an external API. The form will add a record, while being asynchronous. This pulls the events of the table, which will be automatically updated. Sounds interesting? Forms, pages, tables, this is the basis of Moonshine. Just by understanding this logic here, you can do interesting things in your projects. Let's go. Let's open the code. Moonshine, of course, I already have it installed, everything is set up. Let's create a new page. Moonshine. Page. Let's call it form table. Okay, next, let's open up the service provider. And let's register it. Well, let it be at the top. Menu item, make. Form table. Our page. Yes, generally enough. Let's go back to the browser and see that we have it. Here we have it, empty for now. Great, let's go to the page itself, and we will need a components block, where we will add the necessary components. In this case we will have a form and a table. Let's actually start with a form. Okay, form builder. Make. Let's skip action for now, we'll add it later. Next, let's organize the fields. And we'll have one field. Title. By the way, as I said earlier, we're going to get the data from the API. Let's jump right in and see what we have there. JSON placeholder. Okay. And let's use the posts. Great. Let's take the URL, let's do a method right away. Let's let it be fetch. And let's return the data. HTTP, get, our URL. Here's a suggestion for what to do right away. We have in JSON placeholder we have roots on adding posts as well. In fact, after adding we get a JSON response that everything is added but the post list it doesn't change. So for us to see that the table has reloaded, let's turn the response into a collection rather than JSON, and do a shuffle to mix it all up. Shuffle. Let's also take a table. First of all, let's see that we have everything good. We can see that we've got the form displayed. We can give the form a backing right away to make it look more interesting. Block. Next, friends, to make everything work synchronously, Moonshine understands which form we are interacting with, which table. We need to give these components names. Name. In general, for now, we have them on the page as a single copy. You don't have to give a name, it will be default. But especially if there are a lot of these forms and a lot of tables, be sure to put the name right away. And it is better to always specify it as a practice. Let it be main form. And after the block, let's create a table builder. The same fields. And we will take the form data just from the API and the fetch method. So we remember. Also set the name at once. Let it be main table. Let's also set the type so that it doesn't bother us. And additionally, I propose to do it through a function. It will work faster and more reliable. Let's also add an ID. To make our table look prettier. And text area with body. Okay, that seems about right. Let's go back, let's refresh. We see that we have a table coming in. We reload, it's being jumbled. And it's sorted randomly all the time. Everything's great. Next step, friends, we need to animate the form with you. Right now, it doesn't have an endpoint. There's no action set. It's going to post to this same form table page. And nothing will actually happen. Here, too, we will follow an interesting path. Let's create our own controller. Only it will be wrapped under Moonshine. A Moonshine controller. And let's call it the form table controller. Okay, it's created. And it goes straight to the app Moonshine controllers directory. Here's the form table. There's a little portmanteau that tells us what it is, what it can do. It can actually do a lot more than that. It already has a certain amount of sugar enabled. Let's take everything out of here for now and just leave toast. What are we going to do internally in the controller? Let's try through the API to save a new post. Still HTTP facades. Okay, as JSON. Next, we have post. Let's copy the URL. And, accordingly, what we're going to save there. We have only the title in the form. Let's take it from the request. We are not interested in validation and everything else right now. We just work with form builder, table builder, body. Let's just do some testing. And there was user ID 1. Like this. Let's take a look at what we have present there to see what is supposedly being saved. But to realize that in reality, the list of posts from the API will not change. Okay, we have the controller. We still need to declare it with you in route. Here is also an interesting point that I always do when working with Moonshine. I go into the route service provider and add another file under route for Moonshine. It looks the same as all the others. The only difference is that it's not web middleware, it's Moonshine. Okay, let's go into it. It's empty for now. And let's declare a route post here. And let it be form table. Store. Doesn't matter. And our controllers. We have it. It will be enough to do the following. Name. Form table store. That's the ID tells us. That's great. Let's go back to our page. Now we can set the endpoint of the form. Route. Form table store. Alright, let's go back. Let's type something in, and hit save. We see we're in the controller. I just made a bit of a mistake. Let's make it JSON. To see what is there in the response, instead of receiving the whole response object. And as we can see, everything is as planned. JSON placeholder. If saved, we get a new record. But if you and I go back now, we don't see any test in the list. It's not actually being added. That's actually why you and I did the shuffle, to see that we have something updated. Let's bring it back. That's the way to do it. Let's make toast success, so that synchronous mode can be passed as well. We see success. Everything works in the end. Now, friends, the next step. Go back to our form table and switch the form builder to asynchronous mode. We do the same thing with you with the table. The only difference. We need to pull the events in the table after we post the form, so that it will refresh. Since we do not reload the whole page, but only the component that is required. To do this, you need to specify the async events parameter. Then pass all the events that we need to pull by string. Within the framework of tables, there are already registered events that start with table updated. Then the name of the component. So in this case we need to update the main table. And we do the following. Among other things, after we post the form with you, we have a successful add. The table will be updated, but the data in the form will remain. We still need to reset and clear it. That is why we write the next event after the comma. It is also already registered in the system. Form reset. And then also the name of the component. Correspondingly, the current form. Okay, what's the next thing we need to do? If we go into controller with you, we can see that we have a standard redirect. That's not going to work. In this case, since we have an asynchronous request, we need to return JSON. And within the Moonshine controller framework, we already have the sugar to do that. This, JSON and the message that we're going to return. Success. Okay, let's go back and update and see what we have going on. Do a test. Hit save. I think you saw that our form refreshed. The form reset. And there was a message that the save was successful. We can try again. That's great. It is easy to create pages like this without the need for a model. You can use any data you want and build the pages to your liking, including adding shapes and tables. Use the Moonshine constructor to change the appearance of your events. Moonshine is a powerful tool that can be used both asynchronously and not. I am impressed with its capabilities and use it frequently. Let me share its features with you. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. If you have any questions, please post a comment. If you have any suggestions for other topics that Moonshine should cover, please let us know. Thank you for your likes and comments. I'll see you in the next videos on the Cut Code channel.